The political elite tend to think they're above the law, too wired, too influential, too entrenched. This has been the case for decades in South Africa's power elite. Scandals dissipate, investigations get announced, investigation commissions take years, and ultimately very few influential names actually get held accountable. This time, however, something new is taking place. This time global systems of justice are said to have intervened. There is a warrant out for the arrest of poor Mashatile, and if the charges are true, it will all be news to what we perceived we knew about the inner workings of the ANC. He stands accused of enormous crimes involving cross-border financial crimes, money laundering and racketeering in connection with a vast web of illegal deal-making that reaches from South Africa through the Middle East and into sections of Europe. For decades, rumors about secret money, offshore real estate portfolios, and murky foreign connections dog him. Now, those rumors seem to be coalescing into something much more substantial. What began as a low-level rumor in diplomatic circles has grown into an open secret in political backrooms. Foreign investigators, most notably from Switzerland and the United Arab Emirates, have been quietly gathering evidence for months. Their target has allegedly been a clandestine ANC-affiliated fund said to have laundered millions of dollars via a network of offshore accounts, high-end real estate, and front companies supposedly owned or controlled by or closely associated with Mashatile and his inner circle. The scope of the probe and the fact that it's being handled by foreign monitors implies what's being revealed is well beyond local corruption. Let's not beat about the bush. The African National Congress is embroiled in a covert civil war. The party boasted previously about being disciplined and united. Yet now its factions are quite openly engaged in conflict with each other. They no longer merely dispute with each other in secret. They are actually leaking documents, airing rivals' dirty laundry, and even aligning with external forces. And Mashatile's downfall could prove to be the largest betrayal yet from within. Sources within Mashatile House disclosed that this foreign warrant did not come out of the blue. Indeed, some are insinuating it could have been hastened by major ANC insiders, perhaps from the Ramaphosa faction trying to undermine Mashatile's expanding political profile and iron out power prior to the 2026 elections. The timing is as good as it gets. Was his own party part in making foreign investigators cross the threshold? Others think it's revenge, plain and simple. Mashatile, the longtime favorite to run for president, has ruffled feathers in almost every corner of the ANC. His increasing control over provincial appointments, lucrative tenders, and funding formula had made him admired and feared in turn. For those who feared him, this foreign scandal could be just the tool to kill off his chances once and for all. But for all political imperatives, the international warrant is something that cannot be so easily dismissed. Why an international warrant, you ask? Because the scope of corruption purportedly linked to Mesh reaches far beyond the borders of South Africa. Investigators say that ANC-linked firms laundered dirty money via Dubai, London, and Geneva, frequently utilizing charitable foundations and shell companies as fronts. These were not backroom handshakes. These were sophisticated financial transactions meant to transfer millions across borders without detection. One of the strongest pieces of evidence is said to be an audio-taped conversation between Mashatile and a foreign banker. In this purported exchange, the two allegedly had discussed plans for asset concealment and risk management in case there was a change of leadership in South Africa. If confirmed, this tape could be a smoking gun, not only for Mashatile, but for several sitting ANC members listed in the wider probe. For the first time, the corruption trail might be pointing directly into the top echelons of government. Interpol has now allegedly marked Mashatile for warning, and extradition talks are said to be brewing behind diplomatic doors. If true, it would be the first time in South African democratic history that a serving deputy president is under international criminal investigation of this magnitude. It is a precedent that would rattle not just the ANC but the whole continent. Interestingly, while this scandal breaks wide open, poor Mashatile has been quiet. No press release, no tweet, no official denial, nothing. Instead, his office only released a general statement denying any knowledge of an international legal issue. But off the record, sources say otherwise. Mashatile is reported to be lawyering up in a panic, calling in favors and exerting every diplomatic avenue available to attempt to quash or delay the warrant. The silence in President Ramaphosa's office is just as deafening. Is the president keeping his distance from his deputy? Is he merely waiting in the wings to see if the accusations stick? Or most perilously of all, is he hiding behind the curtain to be part of crisis management? For now, we can only guess. But one thing is certain, this is not just about one individual. The warrant for Mashatile is unveiling a far larger, murkier web. It is illuminating a system of corruption, cronyism, and bribe money that reaches to the core of the ANC's post-apartheid machine. For decades, South Africans heard rumors. Now there are names, now there are papers, and very soon there can be legal action. The ANC's internal reports themselves already admitted compromise, public trust, and the need for ethical leadership. But perhaps it is too little, too late. Mashatile's case is bound to open the floodgates. Who else was aware of the money? Who else approved the deals? Who else profited? These are the questions being asked tonight by South Africans, and the answers have the potential to be explosive. South Africa is again gazing into the abyss. The previous time the country witnessed a political crisis of this magnitude, it took years of commissions, court cases, and endless discussions with little justice at the end of the process. But now things seem different. The world is directly interested. The charges are specific. The proof seems real. And the silence of the accused is deafening. If this is the dawn of true accountability, then maybe it is the dawn of a new page for South Africa's democracy, a page where leaders know that no position, no office, and no political affiliation insulates them from justice. But if the ANC attempts to brush this under the carpet once again, as it has done numerous times before, then the damage might be irreparable. The stakes are huge. If South Africa acquiesces to pressure from abroad and lets the warrant play itself out, it might establish a precedent for international accountability. It might demonstrate that even in nations where corruption has taken deep root, justice might still catch up at the very top.